Hi there, Henry from 997 Virgin, Porsche Driven Uxbridge. Welcome to another video. Third Wednesday of the month, which means we're here at the Fairmile in Cobham again. Free Porsche event, get yourself down here, lovely bunch of cars to see. If you remember last month, I came with a 996 GT3, guards red. Looks a little bit like this, but this is a 997 GT3. So this is the model which preceded the car we came in last month. This is a rather special car. This is a 997.2, so second generation GT3 Clubsport. A really incredible car. It's done 220 operating hours. It's done about 8,000 miles. It's got no activity in any of the rev ranges. When we buy these cars in, we plug them into a computer and we see kind of how far the engines have been into their rev ranges, and if they've gone too far we won't buy them because they potentially there's some damage, the timing chain stretch and so on. It hasn't been in any of the rev ranges. It's led a very sheltered and gentle life, but a really good car. Had a really nice drive down today. The 996 version of this I think is a bit of a sleeper. I think they're massively undervalued. This is a more expensive car. The car we brought last time I think was 76,000 pounds. This is a bit more expensive. This is 136,000 pounds, I think, 137,000 pounds, because it's never been used and it's quite a rare car. But interesting to drive it. It's slightly less raw than the 996 version. It's still a very focused car, but it just feels maybe slightly more everyday usable without any compromises. The Clubsport version is a car which is essentially for people who potentially are going to do some track days. You've got no-make seats in it, you've got a fire extinguisher option in there, and quite a sort of rare car. You could have them without air conditioning and that sort of thing. This particular car's got air conditioning, which I have to say isn't a bad thing, because it allows you, if you're doing a track day, you can sort of stay cool and focused, and it's not too bad. But yeah, a slightly more kind of softer is the wrong word, a more refined feeling car compared to the 996 GT3. But anyway, we've come down in this today. As I say, it's lovely. I wish I could film you the underneath of the car, because it looks as nice underneath as it does on the top. But yeah, rather special car. But as always, we'll have a little wander around and we'll see what else is at the show. So if you remember last month, we brought a 996 GT3. I'm a huge fan of the 996 GT3. I think they're a massively undervalued car, and at some point we'll all be saying, oh blimey, I can remember when you could buy a 996 GT3 4X. I think the one we brought last month was £75,000. At some point it'll be worth a fortune. At the time I mentioned the RS version, and there wasn't one here to show you, but there's one here now. In period, you used to see loads of these on track days. Every track day you went to, there was 2, 3, 4 996 GT3 RS on the track day. It's like just default car. So the GT3 996 GT3 Cup car, which I've got, and you've seen the videos of it, this is literally as close to a GT3 Cup car as you can get. It is road use, but it's got all the Cup car bits and pieces on it, and yeah, so I just thought I'd feature. They came in 2 colourways. You could either get blue ones or red ones, and the blue ones were always just a little bit more, I think the blue ones are a little bit quicker than the red ones, so yeah, my personal preference is for that. I think the blue's lovely. But yeah, just thought I'd film it. As I say, I mentioned it in the video last month, and there's one here today. Haven't seen that many of them. They're quite a rare beast these days, so good to see one. Porsche 924. I've probably said this story before. So my first ever Porsche was a Mocha Black 924. Mocha Black sounds nice, it's actually brown, and it was an automatic, so it wasn't even a manual. So not the most powerful car on the planet, and then the automatic box took even, what power it had, took away a bit. So but I was a young man not long out of art college, and I absolutely loved my 924 automatic in brown. I remember going, I think I was going paintballing, and we were meeting up with some mates from art college, and I turned up in this thing, and I was absolutely, I was worth $1 million, you know, in my first Porsche. Pop-up headlights, 3 dials in the dashboard, and yeah, absolutely, you know, love them as a car, and was going to be an Audi at one point, but you know, Porsche took it over from Audi when they were going to drop it. But yeah, so for me, I've got a real soft spot for the old 924. So my first ever Porsche was the little 924. My second one was a 944, and that is a very different beast indeed. I had I think an 87, 88 oval dash car. This is actually an S2, so a 3 litre. Mine was a 2.5. But visually, like on steroids, it's got some shape to it, and for drive, better is a different word, but a very different drive. The 944 is actually a really great driving car, and even now, I mean, again, you don't see that many kind of really good examples, but a really sort of capable little car, the 944. We did a video on a 944 S2 in the collection, and this is just a standard Lux, but yeah, so my second car, again, another car that kind of evokes memories for me. So modified Porsches, very much a kind of divisive thing, particularly in the UK. A lot of people, absolute purists, got to be all standard. You've got other people that say no, you know, have a go with it. Spoke to the guy who owns this car a little bit earlier on, quite an interesting car. Bought it as a write-off, and you know, he's doing his thing to the car. So he's obviously got a kit on it, wider. It's got air suspension, so it raises and lowers and so on. And yeah, it's, as I say, the UK market, I think, and certainly what we sell is very much kind of original and pure, and you know, but I think it's you know, individuals, people have different visions, and I think it's good that, you know, a show like this, we've got stuff like that here, that, you know, someone spent a load of time on it and a lot of effort on it, and yeah, if it scratches their itch and it sort of creates something that they aspire to and they want, it's good. And I think it's good that we see some different cars as well as just, you know, stock standard cars. So we've seen Bob from the Body Shop. We've seen his grey kind of retro modded car. This is another one of his little projects that he plays with. You'll see it's a slightly unusual colour for one of these, and he's taken it all apart and painted it, and yeah, it's in its working clothes, but he's just come down for the day. So yeah, another one of Bob's cars. As you know, I've got a soft spot for the 964s. I love them. This is a nice little thing. So just a good little C2 coupe, little 5-speed manual car. Actually quite hard to find nice ones of these now. I know people like Singer took a lot of them away and converted them into various things, but yeah, just a nice original car, and yeah, nice bit of kit. So, latest and greatest GT3 RS, a phenomenally capable car. It's kind of interesting to see what's happened with the values on these cars. So, with stuff like the GT3, GT3 RS, if you walk into Porsche and say, hi, I'd like to buy a GT3 RS, the guys kind of laugh at you and say, no chance. You've got to be a sort of special client with a special relationship to be considered to buy one. And then when you took delivery of it, the values rocket and they command a huge premium over list price. I actually went into Portsmouth and tried to buy order a GT4 RS, I just spec'd one at about £145,000 and thought, you know, I'm going to treat myself to a new Porsche, and you know, I thought they're quite a nice package. But of course they sort of laughed at me and politely said no chance, even though it wasn't a limited numbers cars or anything like that, but you kind of can't buy them, and hence the values shoot over list price. We don't really get involved in overs with the new stuff like this, and if I'm being honest, I mean, even as a kind of Porsche enthusiast and dealer, it just turned me off all the kind of new stuff, which is a shame because they are, as I say, an amazing car. We've now got to a point where, you know, at one stage these were £500,000, and the values have now come down to, well, in the case of a GT4 or GT3 RS, it'll probably be under list price for a second-hand car now, and I actually think that's quite a good thing, because to me, I've always felt it's a false sort of thing that Porsche are doing. They're just falsely keeping the values of these up by how many they choose to make. They could make as many as they want to, and they're just creating this ridiculous market. And the trouble is, it then also encourages dealers to whether they take bribes or they say, oh, if you buy 6 of these, we'll sell you, you know, put you one of these. But it means that at the dealer level, the dealer is kind of encouraged to do some not very nice things. But now we're seeing the values of these come down. I don't think it's not the end of the world. It's not that, oh, the world has collapsed and you know, because you can no longer get a £250,000 premium for one of these things. I think what it means is, you know, if you buy a new car, you enjoy it and you expect it to depreciate a little bit, and hopefully it settles down and reaches a point where it's depreciated a sensible amount and you've enjoyed it and you've had pleasure out of it, and maybe, you know, as they get older, maybe the values increase a bit. But I think now that the values of these have softened, I hope it means that people will actually use the cars. There's 2, we've got one here, and you know, I hope we see more of them being used as Porsche intended. And you know, people aren't just putting them in a garage thinking, oh, I mustn't use it because it's, you know, it's a £200,000 premium, but they actually think, okay, I'm going to use it, enjoy it, get some pleasure out of it, and you know, if it goes down a few quid, it goes down a few quid, but we get the pleasure out of them. So to me, I hope we now see stuff like that being used a bit, because they're a fantastic car, and yeah, good to see them out and about and being used. And I saw this come in. This is a really pretty car, some lovely detailing inside it, and yeah, I don't really get car envy very often, but I saw this and thought, lovely. This is a really lovely bit of kit. So there you go, another show come to an end. People are starting to dissipate, and we're going to shoot in the pub and grab a bite to eat now. But yeah, again, as always, third Wednesday of every month during the summer. It's free to come along, bring your Porsche, drive down, park up. There's always some interesting cars to see, and some noisy cars. But yeah, always some interesting cars to see. We try to bring something different every month. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed sort of seeing the diverse range of what's here today. I'm Henry, we're 911 Virgin, the Porsche people in Uxbridge. Many thanks for watching, have fun, look after yourselves, bye bye.